All right, good day, traders. Hope you guys are good, and welcome to this week's segment of our weekly market breakdowns. Without wasting any time, I'm going to start by looking at NZDJPY. We're going to start on the monthly. As you can see right here, we have liquidity in the form of equal highs, and above that liquidity, we have this imbalance over here, right? Now, we should be looking at the source of that imbalance, right? I think we've covered this more than enough. And then the next thing is us identifying the trend, right? As you can see, higher highs, higher lows, constantly violating the highs. And we see right here that the market had a failure swing. In other words, it didn't break below this, this low over here, right? I think what I'm expecting on a higher time frame is a break of structure above this high, and then a continuation. But from what we're seeing on this time frame, we are bullish, and we should be looking for buy trades. Anyways, let's go to the weekly. So this is the failure swing, right? Meaning that the market, as it dropped, failed to break below this area over here. We can also see that we grabbed liquidity on this level, right? And now this is the level where I'm expecting the break above, right? I mean, initially I would have expected, and that's what I expected. Initially, I expected a drop from this area of supply, considering the fact that it has broken previous structure, right? So we had a limit order on this level, but I think as the week progressed, I saw that the market was slowly but surely coming into this level. And if you see that there's buy pressure with these candlesticks coming into this level, then it should be a sign that the market isn't necessarily going to respect that level, right? So that's what I'm seeing right now. If we get a strong bearish candlestick, that's going to be another story, right? But for now, I am bullish on this pair, right? So these are my thoughts and sentiments. If we do get a breakout, which I'm expecting in the coming week, this will be our first take profit, right? This will be our first take profit, as it is an area of liquidity. And then the market has this gap to fill right here until that point over there, which is about 130 pips, right? So there's a potential to catch a lot of trades from that buy over there, right? So let's not waste time. Let's move on to another pair. Now we are on NZDCHF. And as you can see, we're in this uptrend, right? And now we're in this mini downtrend, right? Now let's look at recent price action. We had this imbalance over here, and the source of that imbalance was our demand zone, right? As you can see right here, the market beautifully came into that demand zone and is reacting from it. Coming into that demand zone, we created liquidity over here. We had this creation of liquidity, and then people sold, and as they're selling, their orders got taken out. Right now, you can see that we have an imbalance over here, orders that are ready to be filled, and this is the source of that imbalance. So for now, my focus will be on us catching buys, right, as the market fills in this gap over here. And what happens next is up to the market. I'm not really concerned with that, right? So I think we should expect buying momentum until we can fill in these orders. Then what happens after then, we'll see as time goes. Now let's go to the daily. Right, now you can see, and it's much more clear, that we had this price action right here, price creating a trend, breaking highs, respecting lows and creating ones, right? And we recently got a break of that high, right? I think the one high that I'm expecting, I was expecting price to break rather, is this high over here. And as you can see right here, we just got a grab of liquidity, right? So I'm expecting price to return to an order block from this breakout right here, and then use that order block to take off, right? If we get that set up from the daily, right, I'm expecting the market to print at least one candlestick that will consolidate away from the zone, right? If you don't know these rules, watch my video on tradability of zones. I'll put the link to it in the description box below. But basically, I'm expecting a consolidation away and at least one candlestick to retest it, and then buy, right? So these are my thoughts and sentiments on NZDCHF, right? As you can see right here, we're getting a change of sentiment and the market slowly getting up or slowly going up. And there's incentive because there is a gap, right? And we always know, or we know the relationship between gaps and liquidity in the market already. So let me not waste time. Let's move on to another pair. This is an update from last week's market breakdown, and the market is behaving as anticipated. So we have a break of structure from this level right here, right? Confirming what I've been saying all along, that price is going down. And then we are going to take profit from these areas of liquidity. So what happens when the market arrives there, that's for when it arrives there. But for now, our business is what's happening now, which is why I want us to go to the lower time frame. You'll see that we have these equal highs over here. Okay, first of all, in a downtrend, we recently broke this low, clear break of structure. Now we're waiting for the market to retest an order block, right? We have this imbalance over here. We have this gap over here. We're interested in the source of that imbalance, which is this over here. So this is the supply zone that I'll be looking to get entries from. It's a good supply zone because it has resulted in a break of structure, has a strong departure, and has time spent away from it, right? So I'm not saying necessarily that we're going to get a sell setup this week or the coming week. It's a setup that should play out in a matter of time, right? Or in a matter of weeks. So what I'm expecting in the short run is bullish momentum going into this nested zone, right? This is what I'm expecting, right? Another zone that I think we should take note of is still this one over here. Reason being, we have those equal lows and that gap still hasn't been filled, right? So I think we'll just see what happens as time goes, but I'm still bearish on this pair, and I think you should be too. Let's just go to the lower time frames to see what we should expect. All right, so assume that the market like wants to go back to retest that level, right? I would want the market to print a bullish momentum and then break previous structure until going into that zone. The incentive that I see on the lower time frame is this gap over here. There's a fair value gap there. There's also an area of liquidity right here, right? So the market could take liquidity from this level and then use that level to tap into this untested order block here, right? So that's what I'm seeing. But then if, say, for example, the market does not go all the way into the zone, I think we would want to see a bit of correction, right? After every impulse, you should wait for a correction for you to be able to take advantage of the trend that's in your way, whether it's an uptrend or a downtrend. After every strong impulsive move, wait for a correction. And I think that's what we're waiting for right now. So anyways, these are my thoughts on EURCAD. Don't want to make this thing too long. If you need lessons on whatever it is that I'm talking about that you don't have an idea of what I'm talking about, there are videos prepared especially for you. So make sure that you check those out. But without wasting any time, let's move on to another pair. Another pair that went into the direction that we had anticipated is EURNZD, actually smashed take profit with a good amount of pips. We had a break of structure from this zone over here. And from that, we have these two zones right here. First zone being this one, and then the second zone being this one, right? And this is the zone that is the source of this great imbalance over here, right? And we have another break of structure over here. So what I'm expecting in the coming weeks is for the market to create a consolidation on the daily and try to fill in this gap before continuing down. But what is established is the fact that we're in a downtrend and price will be going down for a very long time. So what is it that I see on the lower time frame? Let's jump onto the daily quick. We have a break of structure over there. And then we have this nested zone of supply. So this is the first zone. Another zone that I see price correcting from is this zone over here. Why this zone above? Because there's equal highs right here, and the market could use those equal highs for liquidity and then drop, right? So yeah, these are the zones to look out for. Like I said, we have this great imbalance over here. And I think that in the coming days, or in the coming weeks, price will use mechanisms in order to fill in this gap right here. We have this gap over here, this little inefficiency over here, but we have this gap over here. Let's move on to another pair. Right, another pair or another setup that I've been expecting for a very long time is the one on Euro AUD. All right, if you follow me, I've talked about this a few months ago, and it's behaving accordingly, right? As you can see right here, we're in a downtrend, right? Price recently reacted from this weekly, from this monthly demand, then now dropped, and this drop right here has resulted in a break of structure, right? And we also have this huge fair value gap right here. And I'm interested in the source of that fair value gap, which is this area over here, which I'm going to use as my supply zone, right? So what I'm expecting in the coming month, yes, I'm expecting the market to give me one candlestick that consolidates away, obviously, and then a return to that order block before continuing to the downside, right? Another area or another thing that you should note is that this is our downside liquidity. So whatever happens from then, it's entirely up to the market, right? But then, yeah, this is what I expect on Euro AUD. Young rejection candlestick, and then bullish momentum that will go into this gap, fill it, and then a drop to the downside. But yeah, let's move on to the weekly. As we go on to the weekly, this fair value gap becomes much more clear. We also have a gap here, and then we should be looking at this nested area of supply, right? I think this area could potentially be broken through because there's liquidity over here in the form of equal highs. So another zone that I'll be looking at is this one over here. But yeah, we have this fair value gap right here that has resulted in a break of structure from these highs and from these lows, from these lows. And yeah, I think that we should have our limit orders within these zones over here and expect the market to react from them, right? So yeah, this is what I'm expecting. Probably I'll post this during the week if I do get a change of sentiment, especially on the lower time frame. If you get a new trend on the lower time frame, which is an uptrend, we should definitely be able to take advantage of that as it fills in this gap, right, until it reaches this point over here and it drops to the downside. But anyways, these are my thoughts and sentiments on Euro AUD. Let's move on to the final pair of the week. Right. If there's one pair that's been giving me like not necessarily headaches, but I've been changing my mind a lot, it's definitely EURJPY. As you can see right here, we recently got a drop and the market is approaching this demand zone over here, right? That means we've reacted from this area right here. And that's fine. That's fine. But if you know the supply and demand curve, they know which kind of setups we're looking for, right? So yeah, market is approaching the demand zone. It means that soon in a buyer's territory, we're just waiting for this demand zone to be in control, right? We also have this gap right here, which creates incentive for, like, let's say the market hits the zone, creates incentive for us to see a bit of bullish momentum before price continues down or price continues going up, right? So that's a long-term setup. In the short run though, you can see, right, we have this break of structure over here, and we've created these lower highs resulting in this push to the downside, right? We recently broken through this level right here, and I see the market filling in this gap over here. As you can see right here, there's liquidity. So price has incentive to take out that area of liquidity, of which, okay, if you can see, it's already tapped into it. So I'm expecting a reaction from this nested demand zone over here. If we look at that demand zone, has a strong departure away from it, time split away, it's nested within a higher time frame structure. So it makes it a good area. The fact that it has an imbalance and liquidity before it, right, makes it an attractive setup for us to get pressure going into it. So what I'm expecting right now is a rejection from the zone over here, right, and then a movement to the upside. Why am I expecting a movement to the upside? Like I said, we have this fair value gap over here, and this is the source of that gap. As you can see right here, we have this breaker block also here. So I'm expecting the market to at least come into the zone. If it breaks out from the zone, we'll take it from there, right? But this is like huge amount of pips, and you can't necessarily afford to miss out on that movement. As you can see, it's close to 400 pips, right? So at least when the market finally arrives on that level, we'll take it from there. But yeah, this is what I'm expecting on EURJPY. And this is the final pair for the week. Other setups are doing good, especially the dollar index, EURNZD, and gold. We'll be seeing more of gold pressure in the coming weeks. So if you haven't jumped on that trade, follow what I've done last week and see if you can use your strategy to jump onto it and take advantage of that movement, right? For now, that's all I have for you guys this week. Till we meet again next week. Peace.